place basketball.
Still first place.
But don't you see Borden's like daily status update?
I do it because it pisses a lot of Yankee fans off, and it's great because
a lot of Yankee fans are Gabor.
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 Let's be honest, it's solely for Gabor.
It's really bothering him though. It's great. I love it.
I don't know if it bothers him more that or when you like post pictures when you're at like your girl's bar.
Oh, he was pissed about that.
Oh yeah, he cheated.
Cheated. He legit now
cheated on him. He was angry.
Yeah, I was watching the match there twice. It's not my fault they. It's not my fault that they did all these double headers that start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Sunday games also start that early now too, don't they?
Yeah.
Or maybe they always have. I don't know.
No, they do.
So somebody get on the pizza. Whoever's turn it is picks.
Is it my turn?
I don't know whose turn it is.
I don't know.
You went last week.
Yeah,
I went the week
week
before, so it's either you or you. I don't know.
I think I went the week before.
All
right? Because I got the pizza the first time we were here.
No, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Did I get the pizza? Oh, Robbie got it at your
Rob
place?
picked it up on the way to my place. What was the name of that fucking? What was it? The cap? What was it?
Capriccios.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Capriccios.
Mm-hmm. That place was good too.
Yeah.
So.
Been an exciting week in football.
Are we on? Live?
We've been recording for a few minutes now, actually.
Keep that Gabor stuff in there.
Keep that Gabor stuff in there? Okay.
I think that was the perfect natural lead-in. That you say some stuff.
So, welcome back, Gabor especially.
Love you, G.
To another week of the Alpaca Boys. Obviously, Steve is enjoying fatherhood still. Still acclimating, waking up every
a few hours minutes. To feed, you know.
Yeah, every now and then he even wakes the kid up. So, yeah, since not much is going on in the realm of football, we figured we would try and see where our teams could improve. See which players really need to step up, who we think is going to step up.
Who we think is going to step out the door.
Yeah, who's stepping down.
Well, I mean, this is the time where everybody likes to get all excited about their teams and think that they all have a chance. And I'm sure the players do too, so they've got big eyes.
Weekly Rogers watch. He gave the best answer I think ever at the golf tournament because like people were haggling him for like hole after hole after hole. And he finally just looks at them and goes, "I don't know." In response to, "Will you be playing for Green Bay for what?"
I didn't hear that. At all. And I listen every fucking morning usually.
I just heard that Brady asked him for a gimme. Did you guys see that?
No.
The ball was maybe 2 feet from the hole. Brady taps it in. He goes, "Come on, Aaron. You didn't think I was going to make that? You got to just give me that next time."
Nice.
Absolutely not. You earn everything.
Damn right. Who won?
I don't know. I just saw that highlight.
Because it was Brady with one of the golfing pros, right? And then Aaron with the other.
Aaron Rodgers with the other. Yep.
Looking that up.
I don't know. But yeah, so figured we would go through, see who needs to improve, who we'd like to see improve, who we'd like to see fail.
We want to see people. This is when we start getting played on other teams. So I'm gonna love this piece then. I can finally tell. Finally, my team is better than your team. So I can let you guys have it. Of course, it's gonna bite me in the ass in about 3 years when Josh Allen's like, "I'm good.
I'm good.
You guys gave me a lot of money. I'm gonna take.
I'll go to New England."
Oh, so apparently, Aaron Rodgers won against Tom Brady in the match.
Good.
Apparently, what it's called.
Good.
It definitely wasn't the NFC Championship game last year because he did not win that one.
Oh, and kudos, by the way, I'm sorry everybody I have to say this. He called the European Championship for me earlier this week. We were talking about, he said it was going to be Italy versus England, and it most definitely would be Italy for second.
I'll water bet you I'll take England. I know it's not football, but
you're a big England fan too.
Of course I am.
You guys should do that.
Like when you're...
Do that.
I'll take that. I gotta represent my home country. I gotta represent my culture, my country.
Don't worry,
so,
I'm gonna bet going
like,
with my brother too. Like, if England loses, I'm going to be very. It's not just a water bet with him. I'm just not gonna be in a good place.
Alright.
Let's just say I've got so many bets out there. I might have to change my name.
That's on Sunday, right?
Yep, Sunday.
What time?
Sunday.
Okay.
I think it would actually be fun to throw a Twitch Twitch channel and just watch him watch soccer.
Born?
Yeah.
Wait, can we set it up so that, like,
I hate it.
Why do you hate soccer? Didn't you used to play soccer?
Yeah, but that was everybody did growing up, right?
Dude, we gotta do weekly on location trips at the pub on Sunday during Jets games. This will be amazing. The two of them.
I mean, we could do that straight from our phones.
Yeah,
Just look at Born. Born sent that video of me cleaning the bar the other day to the group chat.
By the way, I didn't even realize that you recorded that. I guess I was feeling good. So were you? You remember doing that?
Yeah, I remember doing that. It was sticky as shit.
What did you tell it? What happened? You knocked over like a bomb or something?
No, it was just sticky. Sometimes you get to a bar, you put your hands on it, it's sticky. It's nobody's fault.
Yeah.
It was just
happened.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Could have been Melissa sliding those beers.
Yeah.
That
was awesome.
Like, the fact that she had that one perfect.
She Tom Cruise that shit.
A few times.
Yeah.
So, who are we doing first? Bills, Jets? Because I'll tell you guys straight up, Kadarius Toney for me. He needs to step his shit
up. This guy hasn't even played like a single preseason snap, and you're telling him he's got to step up. Or you just hating on the guy because you did not want him to draft him. You will not let this heat go.
Exactly. He needs to prove me wrong.
That's like me saying Zach Wilson, but I'm not. Come on.
This guy could have an Amani Toomer type of career, which is like not all that necessarily, but that's to be Ring of Honor.
No, you ain't got him yelling. You ain't got him
You're
yelling.
hating on this guy before he has a chance.
I like the Amani Toomer.
He got one shoe, like his team.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. That's
not his fault. That's your team.
Daniel Jones.
You telling me he doesn't bring his own shoes?
I'm saying
he showed up to practice. He showed up to practice barefoot.
I'm trying to figure out why your team can't afford extra cleats when they have charged you guys so much for parking.
If he doesn't do good, he's out, just like Darnold was with the Jets.
So since he was a first round pick, obviously the pressure's on. He missed a couple practices because of family reasons, which understandable, family first.
Yeah.
But when he's there, he has shown like fast feet, good routes. Mm-hmm. So it's looking good on the Kadarius Toney front. But yeah, I mean, they spent the first round pick on him. He's got to step his shit up. Well, so does Andrew Thomas.
Well, I got a suggestion.
Yeah, he's also on my list.
I got a suggestion for you.
Who's that?
Daniel Jones.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Well, I was going to say, I wanted to get to Daniel Jones, but I also wanted to get to the
I thought Daniel Jones went without saying.
Oh, well, I mean...
that's also why they drafted Kadarius Toney in the first round. Like, we hear the rumors, I don't know if it's guaranteed, but they were looking at your boy Devontae Smith, obviously, at, where were you at? 10, 9, 13? Wherever you were before you traded down. No, 13 is where you took Odell. I remember that. I don't think you had 13 this year. Anyway, I just know that Philly traded up one ahead of you with Dallas. And that's when they took Devontae Smith. And then the very next pick, you guys traded down with Chicago, was it? So they could draft Fields.
Fuck them.
But I'm wondering, would you have traded down if Devontae Smith was there, depending on the rumors you hear? You guys might have taken him. So wide receiver in the first round to make sure Daniel Jones pays the check that Gettleman's trying to catch.
I was pretty content with our receiver core last year. Like Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. But I didn't like Evan Ingram as the third.
They were solid.
The third ball catcher.
They were solid. You didn't have a home run guy, but they were pretty damn solid.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram is that guy who I think also really needs to step up because I know you were a former first round pick. At this point, he doesn't have much money left on that contract.
Motherfucker killed me in fantasy.
Somebody might actually trade something for him. Because here's the thing. That guy's still young, and he has that theoretical upside, and you know those guys who get drafted in the first round have that, like, extra chance. Like, everybody who's drafted in the first round gets more chances than they really probably should. And so somebody might look at that and be like, hey, we're like a second tight end away from potentially really making this offense potent. And if he shows out, we pay him. If not, maybe we can trade like a day 2 or day 3 pick. And all of a sudden, if I give you like a day 3 pick and it doesn't pan out, it's not the worst thing.
Yeah. By the way, if he makes that catch at the end of that game in Philadelphia, you guys win the division.
Yeah. There were
Would've had a whole
there were
threw
two.
a bad ball.
No,
there
threw
were
a
two or
perfect
That was a
ball.
tough catch. That was a tough catch. He had
Yeah,
to
it's
step.
hard to catch the
I
ball
mean,
with your
Ball
body all the way
speed,
out.
and that boy runs faster than any of us. Like,
I don't
so.
know. I gotta look back at it again, but didn't it get on his? Didn't it hit his hands?
It hit his head, but just like I understand
What's
that whole
the
like, if it
rule
hits
of
your
thumb?
hands, you should catch
Yeah,
it. I
yeah.
get that the old school mentality, but also not every ball that hits your hands is equal.
Yeah.
Let's also just bust
Right.
that myth immediately.
It's not like he was going across the middle and got popped though.
Right, or like Josh
Just wide
Allen's
the fuck
arm
up.
versus a Chad Pennington throw. No offense, but those are
Yeah.
very different things. Like Chad Pennington, I'm pretty sure at 9 years old, one of us could have caught his passes. I'm not convinced any of us can walk around without a broken digit trying to catch anything from Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I want to go back. and look
Another
at that.
notable
Or like Brett
giant.
Favre, or like any of those guys.
Brett Favre's who I was thinking.
Or who's the one with the Elway cross? Like
Yeah.
there's that thing where it's like Elway throw the ball and he would try to get it, hit him so hard right here that he would basically create that cross from the end of the football.
Who's that?
I don't know.
I don't know where shit.
Could have just been Steve. He was working on his truck before. My neighbor.
For the Giants, Leonard Williams has to prove his worth, and he's worth that contract they just gave him.
It's interesting you say that, but why?
He's got to catch that. I just looked the play up. Yeah, pass it. Come on, pass it around.
Yeah, but you could also say Daniel Jones has to stay on his goddamn
mean,
feet when he's
40
running like for 70-yard
yeah.
touchdowns.
$45 million guarantee,
Come on,
11.5
right?
sacks last
Yeah.
season, but the couple seasons before that, was starting to kind of
Turn the volume down.
teeter off at the
Let's get the
Jets. We
phones
weren't
away just
getting,
in case they fuck with the mic.
that level of production out of him. So,
No, I got you. He is a one-year wonder when it comes to that level of production.
yeah.
He's also only been in Judge's or whoever your defensive coordinator system for 1 year.
Patrick Graham.
Right,
Patrick
he was
Graham.
used
Why
very
do I want to say
differently.
Flores? Is Flores now
That's
the head
Miami's
coach?
head coach.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
why. Okay.
Who also runs a multiple front type.
Well,
of,
Patrick
like-
Graham came from Miami.
From there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But like, because like the Jets, to be perfectly honest, I don't know what the hell your scheme has been post Rex. I guess I know Todd Bowles is on defensive scheme, but
3-4,
was
right?
he? He's an attacking
Yeah.
3-4. He's very
Yeah.
blitz heavy 3-4. Likes to play man on the back end, similar to Rex, I guess. Well, Rex had more zones, but
Rex
who was
also
the
had
head
Ray
coach?
Fish.
Yeah.
When did you guys draft Leonard Williams? I'm trying to remember.
4
Was
years
Gaze
ago?
So Gaze wasn't the coach at that time,
No, it was
right?
Bowles.
It was Bowles.
Yeah.
But like Bowles gets his action from those edge rushers. Like in Tampa, he has JPP and he's got Shaq Barrett. He's got these guys. Those are the guys who are creating havoc. You got Vita and people eating up tackles in the middle, but you're not getting a lot of production from those guys. So maybe it's a scheme difference, but I agree it is a risk because it was a 1-year deal, and Gettleman's back was to the wall because he traded was a 3rd-round pick for him.
Something like that.
And a 3rd-round pick is nothing to scoff at. Like we see 3rd-round picks.
Yeah, Russell Wilson
Yeah.
was a 3rd-round pick.
Even if not a potential Hall of Fame quarterback, 3rd round is like if you're a good GM, you're finding a guy who can start for you either immediately or year 2, and potentially could get that second contract as a serviceable player, not a star, but serviceable. And you don't find enough of those in the NFL. I feel like it's very peak and valley. Like either they're great or we need to replace them immediately.
Yeah, that's why the average contract is only like 3 years, right? 3-4 years.
It's like, I think it's like less than 3. It's like 2 point something. It was the average career. It's like 2 point something. But that's also because that's counting all those guys who
Yeah, 1 year.
not even a full season maybe.
Yeah.
Like they make the
Like
back
that
end of the
dude,
roster, tear their ACL, and they have no chance of ever getting picked up anywhere.
That linebacker, I think he was on the Niners. He got drafted, he had a great season, then he retired. Because he's like, I just don't want to get hurt.
Oh, Patrick
Bolin.
Willis?
No, Bolin? Chris Bolin?
Yeah, Chris Bolin.
Was it
One who
Bolin?
He had a
came
good
in after-
season after
Because he came in like after Patrick Willis. And there was almost no...
That's right. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Willis and Bowman, Navarro Bowman.
Yeah.
That was one hell of a linebacking duo. Holy shit.
Yeah, Willis retired, but not that quick. But he retired.
He
pretty
retired
early
earlier
for-
than I thought he was
for-
going to.
Yeah,
yeah.
like 29.
He was
I
in his
think.
prime.
Yeah,
Like,
for a guy
yeah.
who was,
Yeah, one of the best in the league.
fast tracking his way to Canton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mentioned Andrew Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
Shane Lemieux also. Since they didn't draft an O-lineman, that means they have faith in him.
They do.
So he's got to step up and prove that that's warranted and prove that that's earned faith.
I like Shane Lemieux. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's good value because you got him on day 3, but I do, like, I feel like it's a stretch to kind of have very high expectations, but it doesn't
No, I
like
just
that's
don't want
what
him to
they
fuck
have.
up.
You're not
Like,
gonna,
he needs to step up.
you're not gonna throw Jones in there? I mean, it's...
We already cut. Daniel Jones is in there. Like, do we really need to waste all
Who's
their
your
time
guy?
understanding that Daniel Jones
Will
is on the hot
Hernandez?
seat?
Yes.
That's who
He's
I'm
the next
thinking.
guy on my list that started with O-line in general.
Yeah, I have.
Will
I had
Hernandez-
3. I don't know how many. You probably had a lot more than that.
Well, I had Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, and I wrote, "What happened to Will Hernandez, Mr. Mediocre?"
Yeah, no. What's up? What happened to Will Hernandez? Tell us
There
about
was,
this.
oh my god! Like there was some
Because you were going to say it, I was going to say it,
Yeah,
and
I
all
don't
3 of
know.
us were going to say it. So
Had him and a star. So
like he was
obviously
the
made my list.
first hog molly that Gettleman drafted
for the Giants.
for the Giants. And like he
34,
just
right?
doesn't. Second pick in the 3rd round.
UTEP.
He
Yeah.
just doesn't do anything.
Well,
Like he does. I mean, he's like okay at run blocking, and he's like okay in pass protection, but he's he lets people through sometimes. And Daniel Jones isn't going to fumble the ball if he's not getting hit.
He's inconsistent.
Yeah. And he needs to step
get
up
beat on
too.
those stunts inside either. You know.
he was always a slower guy. He was a guy that won with power.
Yeah, he was like a mauler.
And it was a question also because UTEP is not a big powerhouse school in college, so the level of competition is one of those things where when you're scouting somebody at that level, you really need to be good at scouting because you can't just look at him and say, oh, he dominates competition, because that competition, 90% of them aren't playing professional football, and the 10% that do likely we're looking at that 2 to 3 year career length that we're talking about. But you know who I think also needs to step up personally when we're talking about their O-line? Matt Peart. Because I was actually a pretty big fan of him coming out of UConn.
Good point.
And what it really comes down to is I'm looking at this offensive line that you got here. You got Nate Solder coming back. And I think that his contract is too big to move on this year. I think next year he is likely gone. But the only reason you don't get rid of him now is because that's a lot of dead cap this year, which means you can't bring in other people with that money, and you can't carry it over. So you might as well hope that he can give you something, unless these younger guys show him up. But you have Andrew Thomas, who I think is the future left tackle, and I think ultimately you still got him in left tackle in that last year. You're not going to move him to right now because Solder's coming back.
Solder's coming back.
Like
Exactly.
Solder was yesterday, Thomas is tomorrow. You put tomorrow there, and you let tomorrow come today. So then the question though is then on right tackle, what goes on there? And I think that's where maybe it's like the Solder versus Peart battle. Because if Peart can play well, now the question is, can Solder bump inside? Because Hernandez, like you said, is on the hot seat. I don't even know who's playing right guard for you.
I don't think he can play inside. He hasn't played inside in years.
He hasn't played football in a year either, so I feel like at this point you might as well experiment, because like I said, you can't move on from him without such a financial repercussion that if Peart beats him out, you can't you're going to lose the locker room if all of a sudden you put this 33-year-old tackle who clearly lost.
He opted out last year. He had a bad year before that.
He hasn't been good since the Giants.
Since the Patriots,
he set such a
pretty
high
much.
ceiling with Patriots.
Since he was with the Patriots.
What's his name? Scarnecchia? Not Scarnecchia. The offensive line coach for New England. He retired, but he was like that.
For his name, but yeah.
What's good with that pizza?
I'm still trying to order, but I'm not very good at multitasking. At least not when it's 3 things, because the beer obviously.
But Solder,
that's in the top 2.
I mean, he could maybe not be. He might not even make the start. Like, he might lose to Peart. You never know. I mean, I would move him over to. I mean, he's not playing left tackle.
Yeah, you have to let Andrew Thomas keep that position, right?
So I mean, it's either he's going to play right tackle or he's going to be on the second.
He could be a swing tackle, which is not an invaluable thing, especially with another game coming on. We're looking at more injuries.
He could play.
The Giants also
both sides,
cycled their offensive linemen last year. So having Nate Solder come off the bench, sort of like a 6th man.
No, he's valuable
like
to
that.
have. Not a lot of teams have that. So I mean, that's a good insurance policy in case he doesn't win. I mean, that starting job. So, but he's got a lot to prove. I would say. Just like, I mean, it's not the Jets' turn yet, but another guy that opted out was Mosley. He's got a lot to prove this year.
Big time.
Yeah,
Big time.
especially because he got hurt the year before that, so this was supposed to be like his comeback season.
Yeah.
And you also got to remember, he played for the Ravens, who had a 3-4 defense. So, like, when you're a middle linebacker in a 3-4, it's a different role than middle linebacker in Salah's 4-3 defense. You need to be able to cover sideline to sideline.
Yep.
And Mosley always had the athleticism, but like you said, a year off of football, some injury, and he's already on the wrong side of 30, I think.
I'm not sure.
I want to say he's at least 30, if not 31.
I believe you are right.
Which, is like, I love Mosley. I've always have since the Ravens drafted him. But you, like,
it's 2 years off the field.
Yeah.
Like,
It's pretty much 2 years, you know. And,
he
I'm
went
used
down
to
in
that.
the third, I think in the second or third quarter of our first game against them. So
He got a
it's 2
touchdown in
years.
that game.
yeah, pick
Yes,
six.
he did.
Yeah, he was.
And they went down shortly thereafter.
Thank God. Because I would have been.
That
He's
was-
thanking God. Because no offense, he might have been pissed.
Once
but
he came
it would have
off
been
the-
worse if he had to deal with me after the
I
draft.
remember-
And we go up to Buffalo,
Yeah,
and the
that's
Jets,
true.
because of C.J. Mosley, whoop us up.
I remember that.
And
As soon as
he
he
was,
came
too.
off the field, it
I
was
was
like
not
a totally
pleasant.
different defense.
I was not
There's
pleasant.
no answers after
Oh
that.
yeah, no. As soon as he was off the field,
Yeah.
what? Because I think he was also our captain.
Yeah,
he
and
was.
calling everything
He
at that
was.
point. So like, it was just done. After that, the defense didn't know what the hell they were doing in that game.
Yeah.
Amazing how that, like, that one game, you never know what could have, like, if he didn't get hurt, who the fuck knows what would have
How
happened
many
with
injuries
Gase's
did we have in
tenure
that
as
game?
coach?
Within the first 2 weeks. I
What's
think
that?
What was it? Within the first 2 weeks, we lost something like 6 players last year.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah,
like,
they were
by the
dropping
way,
flies.
they're like,
It was not.
they
good
had
that game.
4 turnovers in that game, and the defense forced 4 turnovers in that
Yeah.
game, and they still lost. That happens
Yeah.
2% of the time, or something like
Yeah,
that.
because we
When
couldn't
you
do
cause
shit
that
on
many
defense
turnovers and
after
lose.
that. Oh,
It's
so
unbelievable.
That's like
I'm
playing
s-
against me in Madden.
I'm still pissed about that game. That was the didn't Darnold have mono in that game? And they
Yep.
still should have won that game.
bad. Yep.
He had mono for basically the entire season. I
Yeah.
guess, right?
But like he played with it, not knowing he had it at that point. You know. But anyway, that sucked.
Who else? Do you have any of the Jets O linemen on your list?
You know, before, really
McGovern.
quickly,
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to like. Oh, yes, we'll go
I
with
was-
this. McGovern.
I was going to say McGovern the center.
actually a good one.
He had a terrible year, and Steve
Agreed.
Steve agrees.
yeah, he had to like. He should be center, not guard, right? Or something like that.
I think he should be guard, not center.
Okay.
But looks like they're running him back
Yeah,
there.
McGovern is the one. All right, McGovern.
Van-
Steve is the one who thinks that McGovern is like that more of a flex offensive
Connor
lineman
McGovern.
than he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Don't mean to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, Van Rotten was the guard, and who was the
So,
other guard?
was it-
I think Alex Smith. I can't remember who the other guard
No,
was.
George Fant.
No, George Fan was right tackle.
George Fant needs to step up. Though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he does. Well,
Where's Elijah Vera Tucker gonna play?
Next to
left guard next
He's gonna play
to
left guard.
yeah,
Did
next
they announce
to.
guard when they drafted him, or did they just say all line? Because that always
He could-
like
he
gives you a
could-
little bit of an insight to what the team is
It's-
thinking when they draft him.
I think they said. I don't know what they
Pull up the
drafted him
graphic.
as. He can play guard and tackle. But
I would
from
like to
all
see him next
indications,
to
it sounds like they're
Becton.
putting him next to Becton on the left side, which
That's
could
a
be
lot of
awesome.
man.
How do you feel
Yeah.
about the idea of building one side of the line versus trying to like? Because he has the athleticism.
I know you're
that
saying
you
about
argue to play
balancing.
right tackle,
I know you're
so-
saying about balancing it out.
I'm not just
but
balancing it out, but also
but-
tackle is always like. There's a reason that the NFL pays them more outside of the guys like Quentin Nelson's going to get paid. Like there's no question about that. But for the most part, the average tackle gets paid more, regardless of the side, than the average guard, and there's a reason for that.
That's because left tackle protecting the quarterback's backside. I mean, that's who gets paid the second most out of the offense.
There's
That's the
a
quarterback.
veteran going up against right now for that spot, though. There's somebody else that's right there. It's another veteran that's doing this for a while. It's
Oh,
really battling
right
it
tackle
out.
or
Smith,
inside?
Alex Smith, right? Wasn't it
Alex
Smith?
Lewis,
I mean
Lewis.
Lewis. Why
That's
not
it.
keep
Thank you.
the guard
Lewis.
from Baltimore.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
watch
He's been there for a year or
It's,
two.
it's
now.
one or the other.
Project 13 recently?
No.
It was good.
All right.
That's about him breaking his leg and the whole recovery process. It wasn't a 30 and 30, but it was like an ESPN.
Oh, that's
production.
right. I did hear about that. Yeah, I have to watch that.
It's really good. It's only like 45 minutes too.
Alex Smith breaking his leg. Yeah.
Yeah, come back.
They show you the
How the
pictures
fuck did I
too.
get that wrong? Alex Lewis and
It's
Smith.
not sitting like,
I'm getting old, man. Chalk it up to getting old. Anyway,
Senior moment.
So I said, who did I say? I said Mosley. I said McGovern.
You said George.
George Fant. Well, he's probably not even gonna. I think he lost that job because they just drafted. They didn't draft. They just signed Morgan Moses or whatever the tackle from
Washington.
So he's probably gonna. So Fant is probably gonna be that swing backup tackle, like
Okay.
most likely.
Nate Solder.
Yeah.
Because also like Fant and McGovern both have those contracts where you're looking at like $6 million or so in dead cap.
Cap
if you get rid of
space,
them this
yeah.
year, but like $1 million or less next year.
Yeah. So he'll.
So, yeah.
So
let
like
him
if
stick
you can
around.
get him even to be a swing one, use that money for something. Maybe because I also am not 100% sure. I feel like even trading him, you still have to pay the guaranteed money.
I
They traded Fant.
Overall, the Jets
Anybody
O-line
needs
needs to step up.
The whole, that's been their problem the
But,
last
oh,
two.
yeah,
on offense, mostly the last 2 years.
Yep.
Same thing with the Giants, I would say.
I would 100% agree with you.
And then I would probably say Steve, and it said this too, Chris Herndon. He's been terrible.
Yeah,
for
Chris
the last
Herndon's
3
been
years.
Mr. Irrelevant in fantasy for me 2 years in a row.
Like what? It's like the Jets get the one Miami player that sucks all the time.
He had a good.
What other Miami player do you know that sucks like
Herndon
that?
had a good. I feel like he had a good first season with us, and then he just kept getting hurt, and then like
The guy
flashes
he'll make a play here and there, but how many times does he
He's
drop the
also-
fucking ball or fumble it after a nice catch and run and all the fucking time?
What's make or break for him now?
And his flashes also have been like 3 years removed. I mean, like
He had
last
injuries,
year,
too.
he was basically non-existent, and the year before that, I think he was hurt basically.
He was
the entire
hurt.
year. So, like,
Yeah.
I remember 3 years ago,
He's just-
he had a couple good fantasy
I mean,
football games for us, but like.
Just my patience is wearing thin up with him.
I feel like
Like,
at this point, I'm surprised you have any patience at all. Like, you gotta
But-
pull the plug at some point, and
Well,
like
who's
by
that-
next year, you're gonna be like, I should have just pulled the plug.
I think
Who's
with
that
him
rookie
it's
tight end you
a
guys
dead cap
drafted?
space issue as well.
Who's the tight end we drafted? I can't remember his
Or
name.
not drafted, undrafted free agent.
Well, you picked
Kenny
up
Yeboah?
Yeboah, yeah.
I think he's going to be probably the starting tight end for you guys, right?
Well, they also signed Tyler Croft,
That's
right.
I've seen
and you still have Ryan Griffin.
I've seen trade rumors of
Like Griffin's not bad.
no, but he's another who's gonna prove himself.
Yeah, but Griffin was kind of holding the fort for the whole
He's also
entire
what,
year.
like 34 now?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying he was more reliable than Herndon was, and that says a lot.
There's rumors we might trade for Ertz.
Ertz? Well,
Yeah.
I honestly don't want Ertz because he can't stay on the fucking field either now.
Yeah.
He's not getting any younger.
Would you say Ertz gets hurts?
Oh
No, 'cause that's not
Oh,
proper.
I see what you did there.
Ertz is one of those things where, like, I know he's also linked to Buffalo a lot, and I think the question is just how good is he? Because we have Dawson Knox, who again, you know, he's got a proven guy for me for Buffalo, honestly. We also have Jacob Hollister, who's not really a proven guy, but you know what he's
and
good.
they just signed him too.
Yeah, and he was like I constantly say he was the college teammate at Wyoming with Josh Allen, so there is a connection there.
So he's got chemistry there.
Yeah. And so basically, and the Bills ran a lot of 4 wide last year, like the second most 4 wide, I think, behind Arizona. So if you're running those 4 wide receivers, just how much of a role and how much opportunity does a tight end get, and especially a 30-year-old tight end who, I guarantee you, him,
3 years
Hollister,
ago, yeah.
and Knox lined up, all 3, Ertz is finishing 3rd in that race.
3 years ago, he was a stud.
Like, it's just gonna happen. Absolutely, Ertz is like I loved him coming out of Stanford. Like I thought that was a freaking great pick in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
But right
And
now,
he was good in Philly with Carson Wentz.
yeah,
He was.
But at some point, you got to stop chasing the ghost of the past and understand, hey, these guys, he's still good.
Yeah.
But when you have a high potential room, do you have room for him? Like, is he a guy, like, before we brought Hollister, I was like, that would be a great running mate with Knox because he's a solid inline guy. He can teach him the ropes. But Hollister is enough of a savvy veteran at this point playing with Russell Wilson in Seattle that you get that experience with him. And you also get the, hey, I know what Josh likes. I've been talking. And Dawson and Josh have a good relationship. You see the way that they interact, both in practice and
Dawson Knox also plays fullback on snaps here and there for you guys.
like an H-back. I think Hollister has as well. And then we got Reggie Gilman, who can as well. Zach Wilson. I'm sorry. But Zach Ertz does not have that versatility.
Yeah.
Like, he can spread out wide, he can line up in line. And even then, the question, like you said, what has he got left in the tank because of those injuries? He hasn't been able to stay on the field. But the one for the Giants, I thought it was funny because the one position that you didn't mention that I kind of was looking at were those edge rushers. Because first off, you know I like Lorenzo Carter. Like that's just an off thing with us too.
Yeah.
You know, I pick him up in Madden all the freaking time because he's young and he's fast, and you know in video games you can make.
He's from Jersey.
Yeah, I know that too. But so you got him and O'Shea Jimenez, or Jimenez, however you pronounce his name. And so both those guys are mid-round draft picks that are have 1 or 2 years left of their contract. You don't really have that edge guy. You don't have anybody that
They
is
drafted Aziz
Ojulari, who we love, but again, if I'm going to criticize Tony for not having played a snap and say, hey, don't get so low on him, let's not also get so high on a guy who has not played a snap either. So I think O'Shea will be good. I think Aziz will be good. But one, he needs a running mate, and two, one of these guys, like I said, their contracts are ending or you're running out of opportunities. Put some good film on tape. Like, get yourself paid.
Yeah.
Like, we all want to see you guys get paid because that means you're playing well, and we all want to see players play well because that's a good product.
Yeah. That's why we tune in. We don't. If we wanted to watch shitty football,
We watched 1960s.
Yeah.
Rob, any Jets on your mind? Other Jets? Or
Jamison Crowder.
really?
He's a bum.
What? He's not a bum.
He's not a bum, but
He was a bum on the Browns, and he's a
I
bum
can
still.
I can see him being on the trade block that later on this.
He just took a
this
pay
summer.
cut.
I would have, but he took a pay cut in exchange for more guarantee this
Okay.
year. So I think it's like a $5 million day. Like he's
All right.
hitting 60.
So,
games
so
a
he
half,
did.
five
So
a
he
day.
did take the pay cut.
He took
He
a
did.
pay cut to get the more guaranteed money, and hopes that like once the TV deal goes through and there's more money to be had, those older veterans who likely should be getting minimums will get a little bit more than that, maybe even a multi-year deal. I think that's what he's thinking. But
I'm excited for the other young wideouts that you guys have.
Yeah.
I was going to say this. Here's who I think needs to step up, and is a young one. Denzel Mims.
You know that's what I was going to say.
Yes, Mims needs
He's
to
gotta
step
stay
up.
healthy.
Was it Barrios? They said has been a
Braxton
a
Berrios.
star in OTAs. They said he's
I feel like
like.
he always is, though.
Yeah, they're very true. And then you kind of get to the season and you're
Then
like,
you put pads on him, and you're allowed to hit the little guy, and it's like, how shifty really are you after you got at least one good look in it?
He's like Rudy. He's like
yeah,
Scott Teague.
yeah.
No, but I'm looking at Mims, especially because,
sounds
because I agree that I think that Mims is going to be good.
Mims
I
has
question if it's going to be good in New York, and it's one of those regime things where he wasn't drafted by this regime. They went out and they got Keelan Cole. They
Eli
went out
Moore.
and they drafted Eli Moore. They went out
Yeah.
and signed Corey Davis.
Yeah.
So and now they're basically saying, hey,
Yeah,
Mims,
what?
not only are you not being
Yeah,
given
we
anything,
do.
but we've got guys that
But we brought in your replacements.
we've even got like Corey Davis immediately jumps him on the depth
He
chart,
did
right?
miss
Yeah.
Like I don't mean like
Corey
I'm guessing.
Davis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he immediately
Corey-
jumps
Corey
in.
Davis
Yes,
is
Corey
number one.
Davis is number one.
Yeah.
Number one. You
But-
don't draft Elijah Moore in the
Yeah.
very beginning of the second round if he's not going to see heavy snaps in your three wide
He
sets.
did. He was hurt. What, the first half of the year, basically, right?
Denzel Mims?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when he was in there, he,
Yeah, he was making
impressed the
big
hell out of
plays
me.
for
He
us,
really
yeah.
did. So I mean,
I mean, when Sam had the time to get the ball down the field, to
when
him,
he actually
there,
did
like,
get thrown to, when he did get
Yeah.
the ball thrown to him, I think he caught it like 90-something% of the time, whatever it
Yeah.
was.
yeah,
but,
when your O-line didn't crumble, you
yeah.
Sam the time,
Sam
like,
was
all that,
throwing
yeah,
to
all
the
those, all
wrong
those good
guy.
things.
Yeah,
Which
but
is one of the reasons a lot of O linemen made the have to step up.
yeah, but
Yeah, right. Out of our 10 starting linemen, I think we mentioned 8 of them between our two teams.
But I do like Mims did by the end of the year this past year. Mims did have I did feel good about him. So I mean, I know they brought more talent in, but I mean, I still think he's going to be fine, and I think we actually could have the potential to have a pretty good offense.
I would like to see Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, and Denzel Mims as the 1, 2,
That'd be
3
fun.
That would be fun.
on this.
So where are you putting the now guaranteed $5 to $6 million James
Crowder?
Crowder?
Left bench.
Well, I mean, you're also here's another thing. Again, I agree that Moore is going to
Security
play
blanket.
heavy snaps, but we're also and I'm guilty of it. We're assuming that a second round rookie
Is going to beat
Yeah.
out
is
a
going to just
savvy
beat
vet.
out a savvy vet who was like a 5th round pick. I think Jameson Crowder was out
Right.
of North Carolina, and that
Exactly.
man has turned into a solid career from Washington to New York.
Well,
like,
you need depth,
This is why I'm going to be really
so
excited
it
for
would
the
be good to
preseason
have him
this
as
year.
depth, and also
teach more.
to teach, and
Yeah.
also as like a situational slot guy. Jameson Crowder's not the biggest dude, but he makes those catches over the middle.
By the way, one of
He
these
makes
guys,
those unimpressive 12-yard catches when
Yeah.
it's like 3rd and 9.
He's like a poor man's Jarvis Landry.
I guarantee you, one of these guys.
He's a
is
very
gonna-
poor man's Jarvis.
Somebody's going to have
Gotta be
some
that mean
injury.
to
He's
him.
like a
we already
hum-
called him poor. You don't gotta call him
Yeah,
dirty.
yeah.
He's like a homeless man's Jarvis Landry.
Not according to that $6 million he's bringing in this
Yeah,
year.
exactly.
You find me a homeless man that's got $6 million.
They all live in San Francisco in tents.
That's because rent is ridiculous there. No, but,
Where did you say they live at?
San Francisco in tents. The homeless millionaires, not Jameson Crowder.
It's where the
Well,
Speaker
I'm
of the
sure
House
pays his
lives.
taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our district.
You know
Yep.
what? You know who else I think needs to step up, and this is going to be a wild one because I love this guy, but he needs to step up, in my opinion, for the Giants defense to take that next step, and that's Xavier McKinney. Because there is no safety. Like, you have Jabril Peppers, who is that in the box guy, but Jabril has proven.
I think he's the captain. I think he's defensive captain.
Peppers?
Real
Yeah.
Peppers?
I
But
think it's him, Blake Martinez, and then Leonard Williams. I think they're the 3 defensive captains.
Okay. I just feel like Peppers has proven that he is good at what he does, but he is not an all-around. Like, he's not that back third safety. He's not a single high safety. He's a, I need to be closer to the box. I can get your running backs and tight ends coming out kind of thing. Yeah. But I'm not your I'm going to read and react kind of safety. And that's fine. Like, not everybody is able to do both. But that means that you need somebody who's able to hold that back end for you. And McKinney, I think, also is versatile enough to do what Jabril Peppers does as well. But if you want them both on the field, McKinney's got to be able to hold that back center field or that back third. Yeah, and I think that'll open up because now Bradbury can get really physical with his guy on one side.
Didn't he have surgery last year, and that's why he missed this season?
Yeah, his foot. He hurt his foot, I think, or something. Even in the off season, like in the preseason or something like that.
Yeah, and then he had surgery and was out most of the year, if not the whole season.
Yeah, so
it'll be good to get him back, but yeah, if you take that much time off, better come out swinging.
And again, I feel like this Giants defense was greater than the sum of their parts last year. Like we know that.
Yeah, kick your coverage.
Yeah.
Which to your defense, actually, another player. If you're, can I?
Go for it.
DeAndre Baker.
I interrupt you guys. I've been interrupting you guys for like 33 years.
I have him on my notable mentions. On my honorable mentions.
Adoree Jackson.
They gave him a lot of money.
$24.5 million or something like that.
Adoree Jackson.
Coming and apparently
that's a lot of money.
The one article I read, like, that's like the biggest like Gettleman head scratcher because like he came off a mysterious knee injury according to the article. Like, so
Gettleman. I'm sorry. That kind of makes me.
Why do you say that like Phil Murphy?
I don't know. I don't feel like
said that exactly. That's not even your GM.
It's a Seinfeld villain name or something. Like,
like it's Newman.
Yeah, it's exactly. I feel like when Andrew Warren says it's like a Seinfeld villain.
Gettleman.
Stay in your lane, bro.
Yeah.
Dinkelberg.
Yeah.
Like.
I thought it was Dinkelman.
Dinkelberg, I thought.
Are we talking about the one with Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart?
No.
Okay, then never mind. You're probably right.
Just Friends.
Yeah, thank you.
That is Dinkelman.
That's what I thought you
Dinkelberg's like the cartoon strip.
Okay, I never seen it. But anyway.
Yeah, I have Adoree Jackson on my notable mentions. I have
and I have Logan Ryan, honestly, too.
I have Darius Slayton as an honorable mention as well.
Why Slayton?
I think he had a few more drops than I would have liked to see last year, and a couple miscommunications where like he ran a 9 route when he was supposed to run a post, or post when he was supposed to run a 9. So I'd like to see that stuff cleaned up, mostly because I like Darius Slayton. So I would like to see him like really step into a number 1 role.
I like Slayton too.
And like with Kenny Galladay there, 2 big guys that are both reliable.
He needs to stay on the fucking field.
Who did?
Galladay.
Still pissed off about fantasy?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I have him in my dynasty team. So, like, don't get me wrong, I feel your pain too. But here's the thing you gotta remember. If you were playing for Detroit,
do you really want to?
Would you rush yourself back and you were about to hit free agency and you were an older guy. He's already 27, so this was his one real good chance at that
to
big
get that payday.
You hold out and you get that $70 million. And he's the only wide receiver who got it, because Corey Davis got what, 30?
Corey Davis got he only got
30 or 35,
something like that, like 34.
He got half of what Kenny Galladay did. I'm not going to sit here and say definitively that he is half as good as Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either. Yeah.
And what did Pittsburgh bring Smith-Schuster back for?
8 mil, 6 or 8 mil.
But just for 1 year, right?
Yeah, because he
could have.
Smith-Schuster's too nice of a guy. He straight up came back because he wanted to. He's so attached to that team and whatnot. And
he's going to regret it this year, though. He will.
He will, because the one thing I will say, I think he'll actually do better this year than last year. I think he's the wide receiver, in my opinion, to buy in, because Roethlisberger is not going to be able to push the ball down the field.
Oh my god!
His accuracy is already so why don't you get that 6'2", 6'3",
he's like a
muscular slot guy who's going to give you a little bit more wiggle room.
He's like a mummy, Roethlisberger. He is like, God, just retire already. I don't know.
Well, the problem is, like, the way the contract was structured, he was due so much money that it was like he wasn't going. You couldn't just cut him, or he couldn't just retire because of so much money would be out there. And he also has such an affinity for that team. That's the team that drafted him. He's played their entire life. 2 rings with that team.
He's not finished.
And the Steelers are a very professional team. Like, they handle their business properly.
They are, but yeah.
Yeah, you rarely see any
They're
of
a
their players
top-class
for anything in the news.
They're not in the
like,
news for the wrong
no,
reason.
like,
Or at least
Ben
especially
Roethlisberger was in the
He
most-
was.
Yeah,
I'm in the
yeah.
office. Like,
Like, yeah,
they
but,
have their
like-
standards. Like, for example, they let
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell go because they were like, we do not negotiate like this.
Yeah.
And even their best running back, and Antonio Brown even, and they held their ground because they are like, this is how we operate. You know how we do. This
not-
is how we do our business.
it's
You
not
like
the-
it or you don't.
Yeah.
And you got to respect that. Even if you don't like it, you got to respect it.
It's not like they're the Washington
Oh my
front,
god.
the Washington organization. You remember those rumors last year, and then
Well, they just got hit with 10 mil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this shit
Because
was
honestly,
crazy.
I was all like proud about it last week, and then you actually like do the quick math. You're like 10 mil is like
Nothing.
dropping the bucket
Exactly.
for a whole
It's
$5 billion.
absolutely
for
nothing,
Snyder,
yeah.
no. But
Like, if anything, they really should have taken that a step forward, and they should have made Snyder step down.
well, he's not
So,
not running the day-to-day operations. His wife
So,
is now.
I believe...
Unrelated? Oh, my bad.
I believe that if the owners came together, they might be able to put it to a majority
Push 'em
vote
out.
and
Strip 'em.
and strip them.
But the owners won't do that because that also sets a precedent.
It does.
And, and I don't want to like start throwing
Yeah.
daggers anywhere.
But if they wanted to vote,
But
they
you
could.
can't. And now that their offices, like the other front offices, they ain't clean.
no,
They all are like, if we call out on this, maybe he's got some names in his pocket, or maybe all of a sudden now you call that out, and
'Cause
if anything ever surfaces in your organization and you voted Snyder out, whew, you're
Well,
you're,
I
you're also
imagine-
now out of a.
There's two
out of a lifestyle.
organizations that I actually have confidence that there wouldn't be any rumors in. One's the Giants, and the other one is the Steelers. Besides that, I think everybody else is pretty much fair game to have some sort of
some
bullshit
sort of-
going on.
dirty rumors,
Yeah.
all sorts of crap.
I was just going to say that when Mahomes' contract ends, Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid.
Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
Anytime.
Steve Cohen can take care of that right now.
He's
If
still
he
getting
wanted
paid
to.
by the first place New York Mets.
Yeah.
So something else that's interesting, Bobby Bonilla makes more money than 17 active Mets players.
Yeah.
So you guys,
Which makes more money than 4 people at this table.
you guys
Yeah, but
know
like
that,
the Mets are paying
hold on.
Bobby Bonilla more money than they're paying
Good, Rob.
Yeah.
17 of their active players.
But, yeah, look at
Yo,
the
Ryan
Yankees.
Reynolds, right? You'll appreciate this. Ryan Reynolds turned around and is the main sponsor behind it's Mint Mobile. So he just did a commercial the other day with him running on a treadmill with somebody with a random chick next to her or next to him, and he goes, limited time offer that you guys too can get in on. It's $99 for 15-year contract. He goes, all in in honor of Bobby Bonilla.
Oh, the
And Bobby Bonilla is just chilling there with
Did you see
towel
that?
around, just
No.
yeah.
You didn't see that commercial?
No.
Yeah, it's fine. I was
Oh,
like Bobby
oh
Bonilla
my
in
God.
the commercial because he was just like, fuck it, why
What did
not?
he say? Like, I know how to make long-term
He
deals.
goes,
or some shit.
I know how to make
There's a
deals.
commercial,
Contracts.
there's a commercial like that where it's like, Bobby, you still look great. Like, how do you do it? The secret? Long-term deals.
Yeah.
Can I get a long-term deal? And it's about like a loan or investment or something like that. But he's playing up to it very well.
Why doesn't Steve Cohen just pay the goddamn thing all at once? Just get it over with. Why? You know?
It's like a big thing in Mets culture.
Yeah, it's-
What, Bobby Bonilla Day on July 1st every
my
year?
culture.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a known thing like across.
That's like when
all
summer
MLB,
that's like when summer legit
Across
starts.
the country,
Bobby
everybody
Bonilla
knows
Day is
about
the
it.
first day of summer. That's why.
Is it really though?
I mean, it's really like
This has to be your
June
best Bobby Bonilla day in a
22nd.
while, though, because with being in first place, you
Yeah,
can let those things roll off your back. I know,
I-
like, when you guys aren't doing well, and we wish you
It
a happy
wasn't
Bobby
as,
Bonilla day.
it wasn't as painful this year. I even went out of the way and congratulated other fans of the first place New York Mets by saying happy. But I did say that,
It
yeah.
doesn't get old when you say that.
Yeah. I'm not because I'm not used to it, but it is getting on some people's nerves, and it's a lot of fun. So,
Well, when you're a fan of a team that has 27 championships, most of which they bought,
yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
We have
There's no salary cap in
we have
baseball.
the Mets have the richest owner now in baseball, but it's not like he
Yeah.
spent all that money like Steinbrenner did.
and we're also getting on the topic of football, but you're also like are building your team without trying to put 9 home run hitters into a lineup and say, all right, swing for the fences every single
Yeah.
damn time.
Yeah, you
When
put
they
the money
like
into
the Yankees-
defense.
Like it's one of those. It's really boring because like when the Yankees do well, it's fun to watch because it's a home run derby. But that doesn't happen nearly as often for when you're looking at a team that's below 500. So
Yeah.
obviously, you're watching at a lot of swinging and missing, and that's just boring. Boring baseball. Like I'm a old fan.
Who were
but-
some of your Bills guys?
Oh man, I thought we were still going. Oh, before we get there though, Saquon Barkley.
He's the last person on my list.
He needs to stay.
Stay healthy.
It's not about his talent. I'm not arguing
I
that.
feel
Take
it's a
short
little
yard runs.
unfair though.
That was even at Penn State. He had that problem where he wanted to bump everything outside. And in college especially, I understand you're bigger and stronger than all of them. But now in the NFL, you've got to pay your ankles.
Yeah, and what made Wayne Gallman look real good last year was that
tackles.
he would take 3-4 yard runs.
Yes.
Instead of getting a 3-yard loss because you wanted to hit a 50-yard home run.
Yeah.
Like, take your short yardage.
Yeah,
and then the last thing, just fucking stop hurdling.
Come on, bro. I'm never going to tell him to stop doing that. First of all, I didn't tell you to stop doing that in Madden, and you haven't stopped. Why the hell should he?
That's a video game.
Yeah.
That we could turn injuries off. He's a human being. You cannot turn injuries off.
Depends on who you ask. There's some guy who's like,
okay, Mr. No Knees. How's
It's not my fault that God didn't give me a body that is able to keep up with what I want to be able to.
I would like him to hurdle less. It's very entertaining. As a fan, I love it.
Did you write that down?
Yes.
One hurdle, and he got hurt. The other one was like he was running and he like tore it, breaking a tackle, not hurdling. I thought.
It was on the sideline or something against the Bears, wasn't it? That wasn't a hurdle, was it?
He like tore his hamstring on a touchdown run where he like jumped into the end zone a little bit to avoid a shoestring tackle at the end.
The game where he got hurt on the sidelines against the Bears in Chicago. That wasn't a hurdle.
That was like he broke a tackle.
Yeah,
he broke a tackle.
So he like juked someone, got hit, and that was the game that he like throws someone off real hard.
Yeah. I mean, doing wrong. Like, if you want to stop hurdling, I get you. Like, I don't want Josh Allen hurdling linebackers either.
Yeah, right? Like, it's cool. It's cool when you're a rookie or a sophomore to hurdle people, to, like, make a name for yourself. Ooh, that's a big play guy. Let's watch out for him.
It's like, stop doing it.
Let's stay on the field. Yeah. Let's stay healthy. Mm-hmm. And keeping both feet on the ground is a great way to do that.
Yep. That's fair. And I agree. He has to get north-south more often. He's got to be more decisive at times. The other thing is, like I said, if he gets hurt, we're looking at a guy who could potentially, like, running back we already know has a short shelf life. Your biggest opportunity for your big money is right after your rookie deal. Yeah. And so if you now...
And he had a great rookie season.
Absolutely. He went over, it was 80 catches or 90 catches or something like that.
It was like 2,200 total yards.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Exactly what... He was as advertised.
Yeah.
For a horrible offense, he was as advertised. And then
that was Eli Manning also.
Yeah, who likes to pepper him down. That's the thing also you notice with mobile running, like that's why the Ravens too. They were talking about like, oh, we're going to pass to the running backs more. But when you have those mobile quarterbacks, it's hard to get them to say, hey, check it down and let them do the work. Because when you're a mobile quarterback, you're like, why would I check it down and let them do the work?
I can just do it, yeah.
Like, Lamar Jackson's not going to throw it to J.K. Dobbins because Lamar Jackson is going to break more knees than J.K. Dobbins is. J.K. Dobbins is going to break more souls when he runs into you. But he ain't going to break them like Lamar. Daniel Jones, for all of his fumbling problems and all of his jokes about how he flopped like a baby giraffe trying to run that touchdown, that boy's got wheels.
Yeah.
Like
he reached a higher top speed than Lamar Jackson did.
Yeah, that says something.
Yeah.
Because Lamar Jackson can run backwards and it's faster than I can run forwards.
Lamar Jackson sleeps faster than I do.
I'm trying to think for the Jets. You know who else I think needs to just go this out before we just completely blast the Bills? Because I know I've been doing a good job of skating under the radar with them. Bryce Hall. And that's a personal one for me because I'm a huge fan of him coming out of Virginia. He got hurt, which is why he dropped. And every round he dropped, I was like, the Bills are going to get him late. The Bills are going to get him late. The Bills are going to get him late. And then in the 5th round, the Jets drafted him.
Yeah.
And I curse out loud at my TV. Because it's like, I know he came off that injury, but he was just...
Cornerback, right?
Yeah. He just had like this good physicality, technique, and he produced well in college. And there's something like the D-backs where when you produce well in college, I just automatically lean towards you because I personally just cannot scout the fuck out of D-backs who don't produce. If you produce well, I'm assuming that you can play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't fall into 8 interceptions in a college season.
Yeah, who's that dude from Auburn that I liked with the long arms?
Carlton Davis?
Yeah, Carlton Davis. I really liked him because he was really good in college, and he's like...
Now he's got a ring. He's on Tampa.
He's kind of mediocre, though.
Well, it helps when you got JPP and Shaq Barrett and Dominic Sue and Vita Vea and all those boys doing. Oh, and Levante David and Devin.
But he's a big guy, long arms, and he's a physical corner. So, like, it's
like
good.
Bradbury.
Yeah. Well, I like my man cover corners. Goes well with the 4-3.
Okay. But I do think he needs to step up. Not just because, like, it's not like, oh, he needs to step up because his career is jeopardy or anything like that, or if he doesn't. It's because they just don't have cornerbacks.
No.
Sure, like, the only free agent that I think you guys brought in as of now was a guy who's more of a special teams and potential maybe slot guy.
Valentine?
No. Valentine was a guy who was like split between safety and cornerback for the Giants because he wasn't good.
Yeah, he wasn't. They had him returning kicks, and he wasn't good at that either.
This guy who I think he played for Atlanta, I'm blanking on the name, but he was more of a special teams guy. I ultimately think Richard Sherman might end up with the Jets. But it all depends if Richard Sherman's looking to make money and be a mentor, or
I heard those rumors were cooling down, so I'm
maybe he's looking at a ring then.
Yeah.
But he just needs to step up because if you guys don't have anybody to cover on the outside, it doesn't matter. Like you don't have Nick Bosa or anybody like they have in San Fran that's causing havoc coming up. Like
secondary,
Carl Lawson's is good, but
yeah, we have a very
they're gonna
shady
tear him
secondary.
apart.
There's
Very shady secondary.
Quinion.
I'm very concerned.
Quinion Williams, but like
You gotta cover somebody
Yeah.
in this passing offense. Like you're going against the Bills who want to go 4 wide. Like that's the thing. You got to I'm not even thinking about that, but the Bills are the conference champs, or the division champs.
Yes.
So if you're going to win the division, if you're going to in general, you build your team to win your division. You got to stop that guy and that team, and you're not doing it with Rashad Austin.
They didn't really address that.
And Bryce Hall. Like I was waiting for you guys to draft corner, and you just never did.
They didn't.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, they had other problems, but can't fix them all. I guess in one draft or one year, one off season. But yeah, the secondary I'm very concerned about.
Yeah, but again, what's the expectations though for the Jets? It's not like I don't think you're the.
No, they're not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs.
So all of a sudden, like you get passed on all over the place. It's like, yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
If guys like Zach Wilson, and I'm going to put Zach Wilson on this list also.
Douglas signed a 6-year
somebody who needs to who needs to step up, and I'm saying that solely for things that are not his fault.
Who'd you say?
Taking
Zach Wilson,
overall.
taking second overall, replacing a third overall quarterback who was still on his rookie deal, and coming from a small school. Which yes, we have guys who like Steve Young and whatnot, but and coming out of BYU, but that's a smaller school, and the competition that he faced was inferior, arguably, compared to the guys like Mac Jones coming out of Alabama, or like
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields out of Ohio State. You got the Big Ten there.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, the ACC, and has played in the college playoffs every year he's been in college.
Yeah.
The only difference is Trey Lance, but we already know that's a wild card. So I just think he needs to step up because there's a lot of pressure on him to at least look competent. Like, it's one of those things where you can't look... I almost hate to say this. You got it. Like, the floor is Josh Allen's rookie year because that was hey, he did not play that well at all. But there were a lot... He was also throwing to Zay Jones and Kelvin Benjamin, who is now playing tight end for the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Because Gettleman wants to prove that he wasn't awful at picking when he was in Carolina. He's like, no, I knew I was doing. See, he was going to be a tight end in 8 years.
And Booger McFarland was spot on when he said Kelvin Benjamin's a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
Since you brought him,
He must have gone to Popeyes.
since you brought Zach Wilson up, this is not going to sound great, but
Oh, it's going to sound good.
it's off the field. His mom is going to be a very big problem, very big distraction. The other day he went and asked her to get rid of her Instagram.
Yeah, and he said pay her to shut down her Instagram.
And her response was, "No, I'm not doing it because I've saved a bunch of lives already from my Instagram from women that wanted to kill themselves and some other shit." Like, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good because if he has a bad game, which he will, she's going to get a lot of just social media in general is full of negativity, and this is not going to help him,
especially when you play in New York.
And he already asked his mom to get rid of it, or at least for the season, whatever it was.
You know
right?
what?
They're just talking about
when they eventually show him the zeros after like the one that eventually Zach Wilson will hopefully sign.
Now, look,
they'd be like, if you give this up, you can retire now because Zach's going to take care of you and your great-grandkids.
She wants to be like a celebrity, social media celebrity, and this is not helping. Man, I'm sure some people have reached out to her.
It probably is helping a lot. But like you said, when he loses a game and she gets all that hate thrown at her,
right?
Then that might be when she's
then
like,
Then one day she might get mad about that and say, "It's not my son's fault. It's this guy's fault for not blocking for him. It's this guy's fault for not catching the ball." This could all really blow up very quickly.
That legit scares me too.
That scares me. Like, if you check out her Instagram, she's on it all the time doing this and that. Like,
I gotta get
it's.
Yeah, I don't even have an Insta.
And I'm not trying to be an asshole here. I'm very concerned about this for my new quarterback.
No,
we don't need the outs. We got enough problems on the field. Off the field, we don't need more bullshit from.
We saw it with Golden Tate's wife. Like, that created some problems with you guys, right? 'Cause wasn't she, like, vocal on one of those social medias constantly saying, like, they don't use Golden the right way, like, they didn't give them the chances, this team is making horrible decisions left and right. And, like, it wasn't, and that was big. It wasn't as big, though, as the second overall quarterback's mother that is supposed to be the single building block for a franchise that has not had that quarterback, arguably, since Joe Namath.
I mean, they've tried.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Bills haven't had one since Jim Kelly, and before that, never. I mean, I'm not going to say never. I just am not very well versed in that far back.
Drew Bledsoe?
Yeah,
Bledsoe was on his back nine, and we got a good... Flutie, we already know, has a special place in my heart, and that's why I automatically take him out of discussions, because I can't speak about him...
They were good.
...rationally.
They were good.
Doug Flutie was phenomenal.
That was okay.
Okay, you want to keep...
Who else you got on your list?
Well, I think that covers... we mentioned McGovern. We mentioned McGovern and Fant. I think they are guys who need to step up because you just don't have the O-line bodies, and if you have a rookie quarterback, you got to get him to step up.
CJ Mosley was a good point also.
CJ Mosley definitely step up.
Especially because I need to figure out whether I got to trade him in our Dynasty League. Because I'm flush with linebackers. And I'm like,
you guys have defensive players too, right? A whole defense?
Two different leagues, but in that league, yeah. In this one, we just have two any defense, two linebackers, two D-backs, and two D-line active every week. And the two defenders, you're better off getting linebackers or anybody who's tackle hungry because it's points per tackle.
Okay.
Which is why I have like 5 linebackers. Because they always get fucking hurt. Like CJ Mosley. But I digress.
I think the Bills' running backs need to get better.
Which one?
Either one of them.
Well,
dealer's choice.
I mean, whichever one of them gets, I guess, closer to the 1,000
I got to
yard
get
season.
my attorney suit on, trying to be like the defendant for my.
Honestly, I don't know enough about that really to say which one, but I guess whichever one of them gets closer to eclipsing the 1,000 yard season, as I would say.
Well, we first have to run the ball a little bit more with anybody
probably
not
true
Josh
too,
Allen. We want to eclipse at that one. Because the closest person to a 1,000 yard rusher on our team is Josh Allen.
Well, I was actually
that's a problem.
Hey, Lamar, they're building it in Baltimore. Nobody's saying, I mean, a lot of people are saying that offense has to be involved. But I didn't hear you guys saying that. In fact, we drafted Lamar Jackson in Madden.
We had the second overall pick.
Is it combined? Is it combined your running backs total for 2 less rushing touchdowns than Josh Allen?
Hey, if we're on that talk, why don't we just talk about how Ezekiel Elliott has 1 less since 2018 than Josh Allen?
That's totally
He's been
fair.
eating too much.
But
that's true. Also, Josh Allen has more rushing touchdowns than Zeke in the last.
He does.
Since 2018.
Yeah. So in 3 years.
I gotta figure out how to do that blue steel look. I'm not on that Magnum look yet. You obviously gotta work your way up. But I agree. I think Singletary's got to, and part of me is like it's.
Yeah, I had him last year too. Thanks a lot.
It's not my fault you drafted Buffalo Bills players.
I didn't mean you. I just meant.
In general.
No, I have it in Dynasty too. So you shut up. Your team obviously is my Dynasty. The difference is you get to draft a new one, and I'm stuck with this crap for the entire time.
Anymore, buddy.
What?
You used to not have all Jets players anymore like mine used to be.
You used to just draft Jets players?
Oh, back.
Except for the 1 year he did well where he drafted all Chiefs players.
Oh.
That's right.
There was also very wise decision. Todd Gurley in the first round, which was like mind-blowing in our league.
Until he actually put up quarterback numbers in a league where quarterbacks double the score of any other positional player.
Whoever drafts the Chiefs kicker this year, brilliant.
No.
That's brilliant.
Nah, he's going to miss too much.
I don't know. They're going to score a lot, though.
Yeah, they're going to score a lot.
Well, that's a position we didn't bring up for the Jets. But, yeah, Ficken's definitely out. I'm not even going to mention our new kicker's name. He's not going there.
I used to call him Sam Fucking, not Ficken.
That's fair. Well,
you can't call this new kicker by a bad word.
What's his name? Oh, yeah. Can't use that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
moving on.
Yeah.
But no, I do think Singletary needs to step up because, like, I was a big fan of him at Florida Atlantic, and I actually, like, I remember watching because for 2 years he was putting up like a prolific college career in a smaller school with Lane Kiffin because that was when Lane left like his bigger schools, was kind of blackballed from those, went to a smaller school to try to repair his reputation. And so Singletary was like the number one. The way that OJ was the offensive weapon for the Bills back in the day, Singletary was the offensive weapon for this offense. Like it ran through him, and he made guys look foolish. And I know it's a smaller level, but he made them look foolish. And so it's one of those. He doesn't have that breakaway speed. I get that, but I like the fact that he was shifty enough where I'm like, if you can be shifty and decisive, you can be like that Wayne Gallman was last year, where it's like, as long as you're turning in positive yards every time and putting our offense in second and medium, third and short, with a quarterback who can arguably run it for short if he needs to, it just opens up everything. And so Zach Moss, I won't hold anything against yet because he got hurt a bit last year and played in an offense that didn't run a lot, so I want to give him a pass because I am high on him too. But Singletary, this is one of those where if Moss comes out this year and just flat out outplays you, you might not make it the rest of your rookie deal, and you're not going to get much value necessarily for running backs.
They did throw a lot, though. They did throw a lot, though, last year. And then they would, it seemed like a lot they also would trade series between him and Moss, right? Whatever his name was.
Zach Moss, It didn't seem like there was always a logic behind it. It was one of those, like, you're trying to find the hot hand, and sometimes you never find one in the process of trying to find one with that approach.
But, and then, he's got to step up, but like I said, like it just seemed like they threw way too damn much, but it obviously
I'm sorry,
worked.
we went to the AFC Championship game.
That's what I mean.
And lost to a team that we want to say should throw the ball every single play.
I'm just telling you, like, 2nd and 1, what the fuck are they doing? Like,
Second and 1, you go 5
wide,
you let him breathe. No, you go 5 wide, you let him breathe.
All right, it works. I'm just saying, like,
you got 5 receivers and Josh Allen to run the ball.
It wasn't all Singletary, even though he does have stuff.
No, but Singletary also is 1 year further on in his deal. So if you want to look at it even from a personal standpoint, he's closer to the Bills pulling the plug on him than they are to Zach Moss. They're both third-round rookies, they were third-round draft picks. So you can argue, like, the financial investment is not so significant. Like, I mentioned O'Shea Simmons, he's a third-round pick, and I think he has, like, maybe $600K guaranteed or something like that this year.
Yeah, pocket change for these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the expectation that the cap is going to start spiking in the next couple of years with those TV deals. So I do think Singletary needs to step up. I think we mentioned Knox when we were talking about our...
Knox that was definitely on my list as well.
We were talking about Herndon, he came up.
Yeah, because, what was he... 8 catches for 96?
In...
last season?
Knox?
Yeah, what were his numbers last year? They weren't great.
They weren't great. It's one of those where he's this tantalizing upside. Because you got to remember, when he came out of Ole Miss, he had 7 college career receptions because he was playing behind DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown. So if you have those two guys, those are the only two guys you should be throwing the ball to in college.
Yeah,
because especially in college, those are grown men playing.
Playing kids game.
Could you imagine being like an 18-year-old freshman and your coach is like, so you're going to be covering a guy called DK Metcalf today.
No, I'm not. And he shows up looking like that? No, I'm not.
You'd be like, that guy looks kind of big, but okay, I got you, coach. And then, like, you wake up 2 weeks later because, like, he stiff-armed you into a coma.
And you don't have a scholarship anymore. And you're like, I should have just handed it back. I wouldn't at least have been in a coma. And A.J. Brown's no slouch either. Like, I know you and I are
not.
No.
Like, we respect them both. We're on opposite sides of that, but they're both phenomenal wide receivers.
Yes.
Which just lets you understand just how, like... Because it was Shea Patterson who ended up going to Michigan after that, but he was the quarterback at Ole Miss. And he had all this promise, and he could not deliver with those two guys. So that should have told us.
And didn't Elijah Moore sit behind them?
Yeah, he played slot. Was he there at the same time?
Yeah.
He was.
Maybe because they're both only this is their third year.
This is their third year.
Yeah, so he might have either redshirted or been very young, but battling for snaps behind him. But But so Knox, I do think Knox has to step up. Mainly because if not, I don't know. Because like you said, he plays H-back and he does block aggressively, so I do like that. Like it's one of those things where as long as you try,
blocking is clutch.
As long as you try, especially, you can teach somebody better. You can't teach them well.
Yeah. Yeah, if someone doesn't want to stand in front of another man and try and stop him,
and not just want to, you have to accept it's not a pretty activity. Like you see Booger McFarland hands. Being in the trenches is Booger McFarland. It's not pretty. It's not fun, but it's a It's one of the biggest necessities in football.
Too many memories
up front.
Too many memories.
Too many memories in practice of guys that just didn't give a shit. Scout team, whatever. Didn't feel like standing in front of that big ass guy or whatever it was. But anyway, sorry.
You know, but here's who I think is the biggest needs to step up for Buffalo, and that's Jermaine Edmonds. And what I'm saying is not because he's been bad, but because we traded up with Baltimore to get back into the first round to get this guy. So we traded up because then we got him the same year as Josh Allen. And we got him because McDermott's defense runs very predominantly with the linebackers. The D linemen are supposed to basically, open up those lanes so that way the linebackers don't get hands on them and they're able to operate in space freely. You saw with Luke Kuechly, because you got to remember McDermott came from Carolina, so they had Kuechly and
Thomas Davis.
Thank you. David Thomas was your linebacker from back in the day.
And he's also the founder of Wendy's McGregor.
Yeah,
That's
Dave Thomas.
The fact that I thought about the Jets linebacker before I thought about Wendy's.
I mean, we're talking about football.
That's good.
I did have the $5 biggie bag today, though.
Oh, no, I'm adopted and he helps us.
I get it.
What?
I'm adopted and he helps us. That's like his big foundation.
Oh.
Yeah.
He helps that?
Yeah, it's the Wendy's Foundation every year. It's for adopted children.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's where like those frosty things go when you buy them.
I did buy a lot of Frosties in college.
I always get the $1 booklet things when they come around. It's such a good deal.
And I remember as a kid, I'm like, French fries and ice cream, that's so stupid. Then I got to college, I'm like, this is the greatest thing that anybody has ever put together.
Well, yeah.
Perfectly salted French fry and chocolate frosty.
I was drunk too, and it was just as good. At some points with a fat sandwich, you're just not hungry for a fat sandwich, and your grub's like, But Edmonds needs to step up because, in my opinion, like he was one of the youngest draft picks that was coming in, so like he had all this room for growth. But at some point, I want to see him be that top 5 linebacker. You need to be listed up there with the Bobby Wagner types, with the
Blake Martinez.
let's not go there. With like the Devin White / Levante Davids, with just those elite guys. Like the way that, like, I'm not saying as good as like the Urlacher or Ray Lewis or LeVar Bowman or Patrick Willis, but the way that those guys were top 5 linebackers in their time, consistently, you need to be there. Because when you are that athletic, you're 6'5", 260, you run like you do, you are the size you're the youth that you are. We drafted you to be that linchpin that's like, hey, as long as we have him in the middle of our defense,
we'll be okay.
And we have Trey White now on the outside, we can figure out around these 2 pieces. Rex was able to do it around just Darrelle Revis.
Yeah.
Calvin Pace went for 12 sacks in a goddamn year at like 32. Because Rex was able to, because Rex was like, hey, I know what I need. I need you to do what you do, and I can figure out everything else. Tremaine Edmonds, I feel, is like that guy McDermott has shown. He had Kuechly, and the rest of that Carolina defense fell into place. Edmonds needs to become that guy, and I think this is the year that not only he has to, I think this is the year he does.
This is his 4th year?
This is his... He got drafted the same year as Josh Allen, so yeah.
Sorry.
No, but I just am emphasizing, like, I do think this is... he's one of the ones where I'm like, I do think he answers the bell.
What are your thoughts on Jerry Hughes?
I love me Jerry Hughes. Like, I just love him. Like,
except when he says he's old.
With them having drafted
he also has the best Halloween parties.
With them having drafted
his costume parties are phenomenal.
Rousseau,
you gotta look up like his account.
And Basham, and with him having not had a 40 sack season since 2017, do you think that they're going to move
40
on?
40 sack season?
Okay. Or sorry, 40 tackle season.
Okay, I was about to say.
40, no, 40.
No one's ever had a 40 sack season.
No.
Sorry, 40 tackle season. 40 tackles in 2017, I think only 4.5 sacks last year.
You're right. Okay, so here's my spiel. Give me like 2 minutes to give me get on the soapbox about Jerry Hughes. Jerry Hughes was one of the greatest trades that the Bills have ever made because we gave a middle linebacker who ended up flaming out of the league of media, leaving Kelvin Shepard, for Jerry Hughes, who ended up becoming a staple in our D-line. He has always been phenomenal, always had good get-off, good bend. And I will say this right now, he gets held all the fucking time. And I know that everybody will say that about their guy, but I guarantee there have been actual studies of guys who get held the most, and he's in the top 5 of guys who get held the most. Like, it happens. And he also is phenomenal at setting the edge for a guy who's only about 260, which is a very underrated skill to be able to set the edge when, again, your defense is predicated off of your linebacker staying clean and being able to operate in space because they have Tremaine Edmonds' athleticism. Like, so... And he's elderly. He's older.
Elderly?
Elderly for a football player.
34
I picked the very wrong word, so I apologize, Jerry. But
sorry, 32. My bad. 32.
Yeah, but he's been there for a while. He can teach the ropes to these young guys because like you said, we picked Bash in the second round, Rousseau in the first round, AJ Panessa's only a second year pro and a second round pick. Like we have a lot of not just youth. Like Utes. We're talking about
those
we're
Utes.
talking Mike. Yeah, exactly. Like we got 3 Utes like in this defensive line rotation, and him and Addison. I think that's one of the main reasons. Like I think Addison's
That's what I was going to ask you about next. Was Addison.
The thing is, like, I think we lose too much money if we move on from it, and I think that if we look at it, we have so much youth that Jerry Hughes can't be the only veteran voice that we have.
So
I think that
use the 2 of them to kind of teach the other 3, and then start trying to transition the other ones in, like within maybe towards the end of the season, beginning next.
Absolutely, and I think also what it is Basham and Rousseau, especially Basham, has proven really good at it. Rousseau, I think, it just took advantage of very optimistic matchups when he was in college. But they both have experience rushing inside too. Hughes doesn't, Addison really doesn't either. And I think that I see the Bills going with like only maybe like 2 or like maybe 3 actual D tackles, like Oliver, Phillips if we keep him, who is also a proven guy. Oliver also is a proven guy. And Starla Tulele, who's not a proven guy. We know exactly what the fuck he is. He's I eat up 2 guys and I eat up 2 blocks and let the linebackers stay clean. But the point being, I think we're only going to carry those 3 because I think the plan is to have a lot of interior pass rush because we saw that it's a copycat league. You see that it dates back to the NASCAR package and probably even before that when you guys did. You can get pressure on the quarterback and you can get penetration and you can do well. So especially against the Kansas City Chiefs, who were all tracing in the AFC,
Wildcat.
you got to be able. Like the Chiefs will run the ball, they don't want to. Andy Reid does not want to run the ball. When he ran the ball like 40 times against the Bills and beat us in the regular season, he hated that game. That was probably the most painful experience of his life.
He didn't want to do
It's
that
pissing
at
me
all.
off. I had Mahomes in that game.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But how do you win that game? You do exactly what they did.
Exactly what they did. Yeah.
Yeah, so long story short, I do see like them keeping both of them because I think the veteran presence, especially from Hughes, because I think Hughes is incredibly underrated. His stats don't tell everything. And again, he throws the best Halloween parties, and there's that.
So locker room presence.
That's a locker room guy that also still produces. It's one of those things where it lets you know you can't judge football based on numbers, especially such a team game that requires cohesion.
Yeah.
Like basketball, it's 5 dudes.
You need heart out of
Right.
it. Miles of
And one
heart.
guy, like,
There's-
Kevin
there's a-
Durant almost beat 5 guys like by himself.
There's 11 dudes
They're going
on
to the next round.
There's 11 dudes
Miles,
on a
Miles,
whole.
Miles.
There's 11 dudes on a whole basketball team. There's 11 dudes on the field for each football team. So
Yeah.
like, if one guy has that big an
All
impact
doing
on
something
morale,
at the same time.
Yeah.
It's ultimate team sport.
Well, we literally said it earlier. Mosley, when Mosley came out of the game with the Jets that game, like our entire defense fell apart.
Yeah.
That's one guy.
And like look at Dallas for example. They have
nah.
okay, you can avert your eyes then. But like they drafted Tyron Smith, they drafted Zach Martin, they drafted Travis Frederick, they paid them all their second contract, and they said, hey,
Is that my soap?
there's 11 guys that are going to be on the offense at a single time. We're going to pay these 3 guys who all do the nothing but block an excessive amount of money, and they found success because of that. So it lets you know
number
that
one.
like
3 first-round picks on that one.
the way that and 3 second contracts.
Yep.
That's the big thing. That's the biggest thing. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Drafting like that, you're trying to take advantage of that cheaper salary, especially after the
Rookie wage scale.
Yeah, thank you. After Sam Bradford.
What a criminal. What a criminal.
Seriously, though, like,
Highway robbery with
He
him.
showed up to sign his contracts with a ski mask and with a dollar sign.
Yeah, seriously.
Which, his
Crowbar.
rookie deal. I was going to say, you did that at Minnesota and Philadelphia as well.
Yeah.
That guy, man.
no, except he switched it up though for each one of those. Like he went to the second one, he was all dressed in black, top hat, little curly Q mustache.
He signed that deal with Philadelphia on a train.
Yeah.
It was a train robbery.
Well,
Yeah.
That's what
well,
was
he got
different
traded-
about it.
Well, did he get traded from Philly to Minnesota or Minnesota to Philly? I always
Dead
forget
freight.
this one.
Minnesota to Philly, I believe.
I thought it was the other way.
Why do I feel like there was a team in between there?
He started on the
The
Rams.
The Rams were the team that drafted him. I
That's
thought he
right,
went down to
Rams.
Philly, and then I thought Philly fleeced.
No, that was for Nick Foles.
He was there, he was at Arizona
No, well,
somewhere.
Foles went
though.
to-
Why,
they
wasn't he
went
at Arizona somewhere? I don't remember if it was.
Bradford. Oh wait, was he in Arizona at some point? It does look like Matt Leinart, but I don't think that.
I want to say. I could have sworn he was.
See, if he was good, we would remember what teams he played for, and it probably wouldn't be as many.
Yeah, right. He's just rich. It goes to show you kids at home that you can't just be rich and famous. You
You
have to
need really
be rich
good
and
lawyers
decent
and
at
agents
something.
and managers.
Whether it's embarrassing yourself or, maybe playing football if you ever had time, Sam.
Sam Bradford.
Like, listen, I'm gonna get hurt, so I need my money up front.
He played in one of the best. That offense that he played
He
in
was with
Oklahoma
Arizona, but that was in 2018.
Yeah, so it was Rams, Eagles, Vikings, Cards.
So the Cards is where he went to die.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because they drafted Josh Rosen and then they drafted Kyler Murray.
Before we get back to this whole thing, I'm just curious what your guys' opinions are. What do you guys think of Kyler Murray? And as a separate question, what do you guys think about that Cardinals team?
I think it's hilarious when he scrambles, and really whenever he runs.
Because it's like a...
Yeah, he looks like he's moving a lot faster than he is.
Well, because his legs have to move fast when you're only 5'6".
He looks like Sonic. He gets the wheels spinning.
They've impressed me, though. I didn't think they were going to be as good as they were.
I am
last
excited to see them this year because of the J.J. Watt addition.
year. Kingsbury, he impressed
Yeah,
me too,
yeah.
the coach.
Really?
Yeah.
Kingsbury's actually the reason I'm so out on Carol.
No, I didn't think he'd be good at all, but I
I
was
don't
just
think
surprised.
he's good. I think that Kyler Murray makes that offense good, and I think that Chandler Jones, especially if they don't get
Chandler
him
Jones
back,
is a
he's
beast.
talking about holding out. If Chandler
He
Jones
should.
doesn't come back, I don't care. Don't get me wrong. I love you, J.J. Watt, but the whole selling point was J.J. Watt and Chandler
Yeah.
Jones. There's you had just Chandler Jones, you couldn't do it. I'm not saying a 31 or 32-year-old J.J. Watt. You insert him post all those injuries and Houston's turmoil, and he's all of a sudden going to not just replace but surpass Chandler Jones and what he's done the last couple years.
Yeah,
Come
I don't
on.
know about that.
No, but if the two of them together should be 15 sacks each, right? 15.
Possibly, depending on-
17
I mean,
Especially with
sacks
Vance
each.
Joseph running that defense. Like, Vance Joseph, another one who came from Miami, went and got the head coaching job at Denver, didn't get given a fair shake at that team because John Elway can't draft quarterbacks. He can't.
No,
Sorry, John. Stop looking for yourself. You ain't out there. And if you are, you're in Jacksonville now, and your name is Trevor. But, he never got a fair shake, but it's kind of like Todd Bowles. Or maybe he's not the best head
He's a
coach,
great
but
defensive
that man
coordinator.
knows how to operate a defense at that
Spags.
level. Yeah. Spags is a great example, too.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody is head coach is a very different job.
Did you see his defense when he was with the Saints?
Did you see his defense
Worst
with the
ever.
Giants?
Worst ever.
When they won.
Just saying.
He makes a
Worst
good
ever.
point, though. He's had 3 good years that happened to have either resulted in a Super Bowl win or an appearance, and he's had, when he was in New Orleans, it was, historically bad. Like, wear a paper bag over your head because you don't want to embarrass your kids in public bad.
Like the Aints?
Worse than that.
Yeah, because the Aints were at least the whole
Aints
team that
were-
you could blame. This
yeah.
was just the defense. You had Drew Brees and had a Pro League offense, and you missed
Yeah.
the playoffs. That should tell you something.
Yeah.
What year was that?
That's
That was
where he
after he
met
got
the-
fired from the Rams.
It was after the
as head
Rams,
coach.
which he got because of the Giants.
Yeah.
Correct. Shit, yeah, I don't remember what year that was.
There's that problem where people look for those, they look for if you're, it's the advocate, it's your ability
the hot
to,
coordinator.
scheme and offense,
Yeah.
stuff like that, as opposed to your ability to relate to men. You are a leader of men. You gotta think about it. The best examples that I can always think about, not talking about my team, Joe Judge and John Harbaugh were special teams coaches. And I know I'm calling it early with Judge. You can say the jury's out. Judge and jury. But
That was bad.
yeah, I know. But I'm used to. Come on, man. You know I'm good with bad jokes.
God.
They have a special point. They have a special part now.
That
But
was
anyway,
PBR.
the point being is that these guys come from special teams backgrounds, and John Harbaugh, there is no doubt he has been arguably a top 5 coach in our
Yeah.
lifetimes.
Yeah, no.
In our fandoms, we'll call it, because
Yeah,
we weren't
no, there's
watching
no
football when
argument,
we were
I mean.
Made the
I found
Super
it.
Bowl, right?
2015.
Won the Super Bowl. Won 2 Super Bowls. No, won 1. He only won 1.
2015, they allowed the most passing touchdowns in a season in NFL history, which was 45.
Who did?
Saints, 2015 Saints. They also set the NFL record.
Wait, was Rob Ryan there that year too? Because wasn't Rob Ryan awful for them too?
Yeah,
Isn't
but-
Rob Ryan just like a clone of Rex Ryan
Yes.
that Buddy Ryan had made so that Rex has spare parts?
Yeah, but then Rex decided to take care of
Actually,
himself.
wait a
so he
minute.
beat him. And Rob's like, I'm all these spare parts and nowhere to put them.
Oh,
Got
wait a
4
minute.
livers
So,
for you, bro.
So hold on a minute. Apparently, what's his name? Spagnuolo was the worst defense at the time,
Until
And in 2015, Rob Ryan said, "Hold my beer." So yeah,
maybe like Sean Payton just doesn't do his defense favors. Maybe he's
I don't
like,
think he's not probably in a defensive meeting at all.
Of course not.
He's
Sean
like-
Payton's offensive guy.
he's
Sean
like-
Payton's that guy who's like he was only offensive. Like Sean McVay.
Listen,
Sean
we're
McVay
going to
got
score
Wade
45
Phillips in
points a
like-
game.
So please hold him under that.
Yeah,
Like you got to think about it. Sean McVay got his job, and the first thing he did was say, "I'm going to take Wade Phillips, and I'm going to say, Wade, the defense is yours. I'm not going to even. I'm going to talk to them just so that way they know I like them. Outside of that, they are yours. I don't care if they like carry you like Buddy Ryan off the field when we win. You just handle those people. I'll deal with my people." And he was in the Super Bowl with Jared Goff.
Yeah. And now he has Matt Stafford.
Yeah. But a much worse defense, and that's what I think people constantly keep. Like, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That
a very tough. Like, here's the other thing: that division is tough. Like, look who's in that division. You know, San Fran is better than.
Let's go with that pizza.
It's ordered. They have my number. So call.
Okay.
But you have like first off, you have San Fran, who I think is going to win it, the division personally. Because I think
Well,
they
you
were
also
just
like
so
Trey
freaking-
Lance.
They were also just
They
so,
had- they were
that's true.
decimated
Jimmy
with
Garoppolo was
injuries
going to start
last
the
year.
year though, but they were just so freaking hurt. Like they lost, and not just hurt, they lost their best players. They lost Ricky
Yeah.
Sherman.
That
They lost
MetLife
Nick
turf.
Bosa. They lost
It's all from that MetLife turf, week 2 and 3.
Like they lost all these guys. I'm like,
That's what they
they
were
even
saying.
lost CJ. They all.
Are we
If
back
you lose
to
Garoppolo
real
and you had Trey
What?
you'd be in a much
Are we
better
going
position
back
than
to
CJ
real
Beathard or Nick
Yeah.
Mullins.
No.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
San Fran's there.
Should.
You can't ever count out Russell Wilson. Like
Should.
Yeah.
I already counted him out in college. I was wrong, so I'm never going. Like, it's like the Tom Brady one. When you count him out too many times and you're wrong. You say, "Go get-" So at some point you just. So I'm not going to count him out. Honestly, I think they'll finish better than Arizona just because, like I said, I'm so down on Arizona. I just don't believe in Kingsbury. I like Kyler Murray, but I don't love Kyler Murray because I still am not convinced he can throw from the pocket.
So you think they're gonna they're gonna win a division over the Rams?
The 49ers?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. I'm comfortable saying that too.
Out of all those teams, I
Yeah,
am most comfortable saying them winning that one.
That was not pizza, that was Steve again.
Oh, okay.
What a letdown.
It is. So, no, so, all right. So anyway, we got sidetracked there for a second. I know I mentioned Oliver, Addison, Phillips. Addison a little bit less so, just because I think that like he came over from Carolina, so McDermott knows him, and I feel like there's that familiarity. And again, we're so young, we got to get those veterans. Phillips is an interesting one because he was injured last year, and we brought him in as a third-round pick from Stanford to be kind of like that nose tackle type of idea, like a Star Lotulelei. I just don't know if he can do it because he got hurt last year and he was a rookie the year before. So,
Yeah.
well, no, he's actually this is his 4th year because he got drafted because we
You got a
traded
bunch of
second-round
young,
picks.
like,
It's the same
pass
year as
rushers.
Allen and Edmonds. But anyway, but Oliver, Ed Oliver, I think needs to be that guy who steps up because you don't get drafted as a top 10 pick if you're not meant to be a foundational building block.
Yeah.
And I know that 3 tackle, like they drafted Charlotte too late, and then they drafted Quan Short
Who did we
in
who
Carolina.
did we take over him? We passed on
Quinny
him.
Williams.
Took Quinny Williams. All right. So
Who's phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're both pretty good.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Warren wanted to make sure it wasn't like an Aaron Maiden situation.
Yeah. I
I
couldn't remember what year Williams was.
And fuck you for bringing up Aaron Maiden. You couldn't have brought up Vernon Golston since he was the one talking
Oh
about the Jets.
God!
Or Quentin Copels.
Thanks, Rex.
Quentin
That was
Coppola. I
Rex's
forgot
pick.
how bad that was.
Yeah, they didn't.
That was Rex's pick
Every
too.
time I think Quentin Copels, I just remember Rob reciting the "Little Tarzan play like Jane." Like that was like the tagline that followed him, honestly.
Remember he had,
And I
he
heard
had
Rob's voice in the back of my head,
branded
like,
tattoos.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But Oliver needs to step up, especially because I feel like that 3 technique, if you can get penetration inside, that obviously not is just part of the game, but it again now forces the D-line to collapse and the linebackers have room. You draft him at the top, you need him to step up, and we don't have those edge rushers. Like Jerry Hughes, like you mentioned, he ain't going to be that star guy.
Yeah.
Addison ain't going to be that star guy. So obviously we need team work, and he needs to be, I think, in my opinion, that guy who...
Yeah, the guy who holds it down for the other young guys up front.
Yeah.
They drafted him higher than any of them.
And one other one, like Levi Wallace, I think needs to step up a little bit. But we also, at this point, I'm convinced McDermott's like, hey, we got Trey White. Let's not invest too much in cornerbacks. We're good at we developed Trey White. Or we
You guys are good at
developed
safety.
We developed Teron Johnson, our slot guy. We developed Levi Wallace, who's undrafted free agent. And I like my boy Dane Jackson. I mentioned him a couple times. He was the 7th round pick last year, who I think is has that potential.
He's ready to take that step.
Right, because he reminds me of Levi. He doesn't.
You think he's going to take the step?
I think he will. I think he's actually. I think they're going to stick with Levi because of familiarity, but it would not surprise me if somewhere around midseason you saw Dane Jackson cutting into Levi's snaps significantly. I think ultimately it's one of those because we only have Levi for a 1-year deal. A cheap deal. He came back for that guy that had a chance to win the race.
So who are your 3 guys?
If I had to say 3, I would say it's Edmonds. I would say it's... I can't figure out if it's Oliver or Singletary because the one that has to fit in there, in my opinion, is Cody Ford.
So we all have offensive linemen that need
I was going to
improvement.
say, so in recap, it feels like O-line.
O-line. We know that, though. Come
Yeah,
on.
like...
So out of 15 O linemen, I think that
It's the most
makes
important
it
unit on the field.
12 of
Coming
them.
from the former O-line.
12 of them need to
And the only
improve.
lineman who played special teams because of his 4.7 speed back in
Yeah,
high
that's
school.
right.
Oh, yeah,
Alleged.
Alleged. We'll find out soon enough.
We could
Come on, man. We ain't going to compare when he runs the 40 now to when we were younger.
go back in the archives and find it. I'm sure.
I'm probably actually more like now than I was in high school. I was drinking every
know.
day.
Yeah.
I mean, mom and dad, I was studying.
Huh.
While drunk. What, you study drunk, you take the test drunk, you get drunk grades? Oh, no, it's hot. I knew I had that wrong.
That explains the difference between high school grades and college grades.
Well, there's also
However-
between college grades and grad school grades. Because grad school grades, all of a sudden, especially when it's my money, it's like A's across. I got 1 A minus and got pissed as fuck. I got all A's my entire time, 1 A minus, and I'm still pissed about
I
that
believe
shit.
you're referring
A
to...
3.94 GPA. What the fuck?
I think you're referring to drunken recall. If you
Drunken
learn
recall is different.
Yes,
Yeah.
if you learn the information while drunk and then get drunk again, while
The same
You'll
level
remember
as
it.
drunk.
Yeah.
yes,
I've never gotten the same level of drunk as I've ever been before, though. Because apparently I never remember anything when I'm drunk. So I'm just like going I'm like 50 Shades of drunk, I guess, apparently, when I'm trying to get there. But no, you're right. O-line is always a freaking need, though.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm apprehensive to say that the Giants O-line will take the next step, but obviously their coaching staff sees something in them. Otherwise, they would have addressed it.
if one offensive lineman on the Giants was going to, and you had to guess which one, who would it be?
Andrew Thomas.
That's what I'm thinking too. But why?
Yeah, he'll be.
'Cause I know why I
He'll have a
think.
better year this year.
They had the faith to take him, with the 4th pick?
And ahead of Tristan Wirfs,
Mekhi Becton.
Mekhi Becton, and Willis. Jedrick Willis.
Jedrick Willis.
Who all arguably had better rookie years, but they also had better teams. So you know, Andrew Thomas had Will Hernandez next to him, and was was he supposed to play left tackle?
No, he was supposed to start at right tackle and ease into his position at left. So I think he played left at Georgia, so it's not a position he's unfamiliar
And he
with.
walked on, I think, as a freshman and played in the SEC.
He's a large man, so.
Well, yeah, so is Mekhi Becton, but he went to Louisville. So size isn't the only thing that matters to the.
Are we sure Mekhi Becton is from this planet? And
No.
jury's still out on that, I believe.
I'm pretty sure he was in that movie. He's in the new Space Jam as one of the Monstars.
Plausible.
That explains why all the Looney Tunes look so upset when they're on the sideline with LeBron. But yeah, I think Andrew Thomas is going to make the next step. I think Saquon is going to come back healthy.
I agree.
And I think he's going, he knows that he has something to prove, and I think he wants to prove it to himself. So I think we might get, dangerous Saquon this year.
Yeah.
And then Kadarius Toney.
Okay,
You never want the pilot flying the plane you're on to have a bad day at work.
Yeah, but fortunately he's not a pilot, he's a wide receiver. So what
Yeah,
do you
but
think he's going to do?
he's on my team, though, so I have to hope that he does well. We'll see. If Kadarius Toney does very well, it'll mean probably the end for Sterling Shepard.
Well, they just gave him an extension, so I think he's there for a bit. I think it's one of those, don't get me wrong, I think that it's an end for his fantasy relevance if you want to start talking about that, because his target share will drop, because you're right, you can't, there's too many mouths to feed, especially bringing in Kenny Galladay. So I agree with that. I just feel like there's at least 1 to 2 more years of Sterling Shepard in a Giants jersey before they talk about it, because they just extended him and Tyler Boyd got that wide receiver 2 money, where it's $10 million a year to $12 million a year, something like that.
I think that's a good deal for Sterling Shepard.
I think so,
a
too.
good deal for the Giants to lock.
Yeah.
But
What about you guys?
I mean, McGovern, definitely.
You think he's going to?
You think McGovern's going to step up?
I think we need him to.
No, I don't.
Well, I'm saying it's beyond the need.
I don't think
discuss. We went through a whole list of other guys that are probably.
I love how honest Bourne was.
I
He's
don't
just
think
like,
he is. I think he is ass kicked, but we'll see what happens.
God, I wish Steve was here to try to defend.
Steve's gonna tune into the episode and be like, Bourne, what the fuck?
I do miss
Papa
screaming. With him.
Zacopano!
I do miss screaming at him from time to time, and him screaming back. But you know,
It's a good time.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll wrap it up now. Adam, do the thing. I'll press this button again.
Alright, I appreciate you pressing that. Just trying to figure out.
Safe.
Yeah, that's it. Alright, be safe, be smart.
Rock on.
Always be excellent to one another.
Yeah, and if you want to do that cheesy stuff too.
Have a good one.
That's how Bill and Ted always signed off.
Yeah, which means it's been done before.
alright,
I gotta hit stop.
that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's not a bad episode.